Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaching and Consulting Insight series on the Success Insight podcast. Coaching and Consulting Insights introduces you to coaches and consultants that work with professionals, managers, individuals, leaders, organizations, all to perform at their full potential. Our guest today is Donna Tashjian. Donna is a life mastery coach and the founder of Vibrant Living International. Donna helps her clients rise above the pain and disappointment of life and create the life they have always dreamed of. Donna, welcome to the Coaching and Consulting Insight series on the Success Insight podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Fantastic. And, I love chatting with fellow coaches because we all have these interesting stories to tell. And I would love, before we get into your work and the clients that you're serving, if you could share a little bit about yourself and your background, just to give our audience a little bit of context of who Donna Tashjian is.
Well, I have been married almost in November, 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And I have 3 married children and 8 grandchildren. And so that is my number one thing that I'm happy about and I love is my family. So that is a big part of who I am. A little bit of how I got into all of this. I've officially been coaching and mentoring in my church discipleship. We stopped counting kind of after 20 years. It's been a while that I've been doing all of this. And my focus of helping people rise above the pain and disappointment of life, as most coaches, you alluded to, whatever we're coaching in, we've probably had and dealt with ourselves. So I grew up in a blended family. And it was a bit of a rough transition for me.
Can I ask you a quick question? You used the term blended family, and the term is familiar, but to be honest, I don't know what it means. So could you share what you mean by that?
Yes. My mother married my new dad, and he became my daddy.
Okay.
But she brought me and my brother to the marriage.
Okay.
And then my new father brought 3 other boys.
Oh, boy. That's like the Brady Bunch.
So, yes, it was a Brady Bunch kind of situation. That's what I mean by blended.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Is that there were 2 previous families, and they're joining and trying to become one family.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
At the age of 15, I had my little girl. I did raise her on my own. So at the age of 18, I have a 3-year-old, just to kind of give you perspective. By almost between 18 and 19, I was in my own place. I'd graduated high school and I was working full time and going to college at night.
Oh, wow.
And raising my little girl. I had a determination to say those years were hard. I'm really minimizing all of this. It was atrociously hard. There were times I didn't really eat much to feed my daughter. There were some rough moments to get through. My strength I give to God. I did have a strong relationship with God, and that's my story.
Okay.
And that was a big part of. But I had a tenacity to, if you will, prove people wrong. And so I've learned some things. That wasn't the only, but that was the beginning of some difficulties in my life. And I've learned some things and tools that I teach in some of my programs to share with women and men, if the case alludes, just dealing with a lot of women with painful childhoods. We don't do that with men because sometimes men are the culprits in those situations.
Yes, true. True on that. I'd like to, before we kind of get more into your work, just to circle back for one item. By the way, 37 years of marriage. I have never been married. I don't know why. I suppose it's me, but okay. Fair enough. But 37 years of marriage, 3 kids, 8 grandchildren. I feel like I need to introduce you to my sister, who has 4 kids, I think 7 grandchildren, and I think you would all get along. So next time they're in visit my niece and her family, I'll have to say, Donna, you need to get over there.
Absolutely.
All right. I love it. I love it. With the quick question about the church, 20 years of coaching there, it's interesting when you shared, people just start telling you their story.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that. I don't know if it's just this natural inclination to empathy and just good listening skills. And the work through the church, was that in some ways helping them through the same trials and tribulations that you went through, or was it to help them prepare for marriage? I know there's a lot of coaching that goes in before you actually get married.
All of that time wasn't through the church. That was just one avenue. I did a lot in nonprofit organizations. I actually ran a nonprofit organization for 13 years, which created a lot of opportunities for this type of thing. So there's been other avenues. The church was just one of them.
Okay.
And through it all, it was just the basis thing is people who wanted to overcome something and to be something better.
Okay.
It could be marriage related. It could be personal related. It could be job related. Mm-hmm. But it all centers around who I'm being as a person, which you and I know,
Sure.
Really know that. So there was a lot of different focuses until I really started Vibrant Living. I coached, whatever you want to call it at that point, it was shotgun effect. Mm-hmm. And I've really honed in on my sweet spot and being able to help people in that way.
Okay. And when did you begin to contemplate this aspect of coaching, whether you called it coaching in the moment or not?
Well, that's another story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll talk about that. Because how did you start to make that transition into what ultimately became Vibrant Living?
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago or so. I was working, my husband and I have a company, and I was working full-time as a realtor. So we were running that, and I was working as a realtor, and I just I wasn't satisfied. It's kind of like, what do I want to be now that I've grown up feeling? And so I took a job at a nonprofit, seeing I had a history with nonprofits, thinking that would be the avenue that I would be able to do that. I didn't call it coaching. I never did. It was, was just talking with people. Mm-hmm. Mentoring might have been a more accurate word for the era we lived in. I thought that this new place would be, so I began to work there part-time, and I worked there for a while, and had put all of my hopes into that basket. That's dangerous anytime we do that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But I did, and didn't really realize it. And then the management changed and I was let go. And it's one of those days where you can remember the date, you can remember the time, you can remember the weather, you can remember what you were wearing.
I've got a story for you later. Yes. Oh my God. I so understand that point.
That thing. And so it was March 31st. It was about 11:30 in the day, and it was doing that icy rain thing that we get here in Michigan.
Sure.
There, it's not really spring and it's not really winter, and it matched my face.
I love it. Mine was March 12th, by the way, at 1 p.m. And all I can remember was, okay, let's do this. Because I had began my journey into coaching about 4 years earlier. And like you were saying, you had the circumstance of being let go, which in itself is a major upheaval.
Yes.
But I just woke up alone in a hotel room one too many times doing work I wasn't passionate about. So let's get back. So you, at that moment.
So I picked myself off the floor, kind of a feeling, and struggled moving through it. What am I supposed to do? What am I worth? All of those kind of really low places. And what the visual I got was this red thread going through my life where I was always sitting with people, helping them overcome their problems. I'm like, well, how do I do that? Because I knew counseling wasn't it, becoming a counselor really wasn't it. And so I discovered the title coach at that point. And I thought of football coach. And I'm like, well, I'm not that. I'm not screaming at people on the sidelines. I'm like, I'm just not that.
I so get that.
And I'm like, I've never really heard coach before from the capacity. So I had lost a job and really didn't have it, but I went back to school to be able to get my coaching certification. And through that process, well, now I have 3 certifications and I keep growing with stuff.
Sure.
But through that process, Vibrant Living International was born. So I say that day in March was the worst day and the best day of my life. Because if I had stayed there, I would never be doing what I am today. And it is the best thing. It is me. It is what I was called to do, is to be able to help women around the world to be able to be who they were created to be. That's my story.
I love that. It's interesting. I mean, I had for the sake of a better word, kind of a glide path for I made my change, and then the event happened. It's like, okay, whatever. But you literally, when that event happened on the 31st, you're on the floor. Oh, what am I going to do? And then there was that moment of insight, that light bulb. How did you go about deciding what kind of program to get into? And were you supported through this transition to kind of help make that decision? Or did you just come up with this all on your own?
It took a while to get to that place, but it was mostly with my husband and me in prayer is the best way to describe that process.
Okay.
It wasn't like it happened and I started school. I think there was a year and a half in between that.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
It wasn't an immediate thing. It was a lot of soul searching. It was, I know better than to make a decision quickly when you're in the middle of something that a major crisis. So we took some time with it and really doing research and seeing what I wanted to be as far as doing. And my husband supported me all along the way and said, I don't know how we're going to pay it either, but we'll figure it out.
I love it.
And so he was and still is my biggest cheerleader.
Fantastic. Now let's shift more into Vibrant Living International. How did you begin to create this business, this practice of coaching? And talk to us more about, and you've alluded to, but if you could go more in depth about who your ideal clients are, the folks that are going to be attracted to you because of the services you provide.
My primary focus hasn't always been this. It's, I think, finding out for coaches, finding out who you're really supposed to serve is a process.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it adapts with different things that are going on in our lives. But I was talking with my business coach and we were trying to figure out verbiage to describe, to try to find the right words to describe who I was trying to reach. And I began to tell her about my life. And she said, Donna, has everyone you've coached, and at this point, I've coached for 2.5 years with Vibrant Living. It's not like it's something really new. It's been a while that I'd been coaching women in different areas of their life. And she said, before I had just said women who are stuck, and but there was more. I knew there was more. And so she said, Donna, has all the women that you have coached had a painful childhood? And I stopped and thought for 2.5 years, whatever it had been that I'd been actively coaching every day. And I'm thinking over them and I'm like, every one of them, every single one of them have had a painful childhood. And so that was the shift that I began to, that's when I came up with my signature program, Turning Your Baggage into Luggage, so that you can live the life you've always dreamed. And the thing is, after we get our baggage repacked into luggage, we don't know where we're going. And so it's actually helping them build a life that they want once that's occurred. And we're really good. I think men and women, we're really good at saying we're okay when we're not okay.
Yes, true on that.
Absolutely. We're good at that. And so one of the steps that I teach in the program, as I call building your understanding superpower, and it's understanding that no matter what has happened to us, I mean, I alluded a little bit of the pain I went through. No matter what has happened, it can be used for good. We can grow, we can learn, we can become better. Baggage thinking is, why did this happen to me? It's not right. It's not fair. It's not just. It's wrong. And somebody needs to pay. And when we stay in that baggage thinking, we drag it around with us. And luggage thinking is, I can't change the past, but I'm going to use it to grow. I'm going to use it to become, and perhaps for me, helping others, because it becomes a part of us, but use it. I call these things gifts wrapped in sandpaper. You have to really look for the gifts sometimes. It's super hard to find, but knowing that there's something good that can come out of this, no matter what it is, and it's not minimizing the pain, it's looking for the gift.
In your program, turning your baggage into luggage, how many steps are there? And typically, how long does this program last?
That was a very analytical question for a very emotional course.
I'm a very analytical person, so sorry about that. Apologies in advance.
I love it, though. I'm a planner, but man, I'm like, wow, that's just hard to answer. The course, either one-on-one coaching or group coaching, both of them are available.
Okay.
And it's 6 months. Most of my women renew. So it just depends on, and I have a plan of different topics we need to do. And each person that I'm working with may need number 2 first or number 5 first.
So it's not like you've got to go step 1, step 2.
There's a basic thing that's helpful, but
Okay.
I work with each individual because each individual is on a different journey.
Sure.
And this is super personal. In the groups, the synergy of the group really feeds and helps each other. And you're not alone kind of a feeling.
I love the fact that you have the group aspect to it, because in this type of a program and for the issues that you are working on with your clients, feeling like I'm not all alone and it's my own baggage to carry around is so powerful that now there's other people going through the same things.
Absolutely. It is amazingly powerful.
Do your groups that you're running, do you just meet, whether it was virtual or in person? I mean, with COVID, our lives have, and again, you're international, so I suspect I know what the answer is, but do you find that these individuals develop their own friendships and stick around and stay around and develop relationships going forward?
Yes, I'm working on developing a community of relationships and supportive, and a lot of that's through a Facebook group that I have. But yes, I do meet people in person when they're local to me, but most 90% of it is done virtual.
Okay. Now, you have another program, Life by Design, Not by Default. Tell us more about that.
When I alluded to, now that I've got my baggage repacked, where do I go? That's this program. It's how do I actually create a life that I have designed. I think most people, even when it hasn't necessarily been a really difficult life, we kind of feel like life happens to us. I'm at mercy to circumstances or other people's opinions and advances. And this is how to actually create the life you want to design. And it is developing people's spiritual intelligence. It's using 12 laws that are operating in the spirit, no matter what faith you are, they're operating, and how to develop those, as well as 6 and 8 gifts that we have that we probably aren't even aware of.
Sure. Now, with this program, you've got it set up. How are you attracting individuals into this program? Because like any coach, and I suspect you're no different than me, sometimes our clients just come to us, we get referrals. How are you attracting your ideal clients and getting to know them, and hopefully, I don't want, dare I say, converting them into a client, but what's that process look like for you?
I meet women all over the place. my mentors tell me I'm all over the place a little bit too much, but I do a lot of virtual networking and in different groups. And I'm very intentional about relationships, because to talk about and trust a coach with these areas, there needs to be a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just like a business coach who's going to help me with my numbers. It's a little bit deeper than, or different than that. And so it's speaking on podcast, all of those kind of things. And I develop and serve people through those means.
Okay. Now, you've alluded that early on that you also coach men. How are men a little different than women?
I haven't done much coaching of men, and it's been this year that I've had men ask me, it's like, Donna, what about us? And so that's something that I'll probably be developing, but it isn't necessarily something that I have really done other than occasional consultation. So I'm working on that one.
Okay. Now, I noticed on your website, and you just alluded to this as well, podcasting. I know you're a guest on other podcasts, and in fact, we met through a podcast sourcing agency. And so, again, you're a coach, I'm a coach. It's a natural synergy. As I was looking, you're actually running your own podcast.
Yes.
How's that been for you?
It's been good. It's been over 2 years that I've been doing the podcast, and it is called You Were Designed for Greatness. And the purpose is to help women know that they are. And I share tools and strategies and stories, as well as interviewing women from all around the world who share their stories of overcoming and their tips and their strategies. And it is amazing how women go, I don't really have anything to share, until you start asking the right questions.
Of course.
And so it is just, and the podcast is under 20 minutes. It's 15 to 20 minutes. Women have requested short because they're so busy. They're not sitting still. And so, but it's there just as an encouragement to be an inspiration to you. You are not alone.
Fantastic. And how about the blogging? Because it's interesting, as I see a lot of coaches that they've blogged in the past, and it's only now that podcasting is becoming cachet. There's a lot of podcasters out there, and and quite frankly, congratulations, because the fact you've been doing it for 3 years. Most podcasts fail after about 7 to 10 episodes. People just stop. But you were blogging as well. What came first, the blogging or the podcasting?
The blogging came first, and I was blogging every week. And when I started the podcast, I began to blog 1 week and podcast the next. And I've continued that.
Okay.
Because I have a following with the blog. People are reading that. And then the podcast was something new. So I blog 1 week and podcast the next. And that's what I do every week of the month.
You are incredibly consistent. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. As you look back on your journey, what are some of the insights you have learned? Donna Tashjian, what are some of those insights that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Words are really powerful, is one of the biggest things. And the words that you say in your head and the words that you speak out loud are both really important too. And so much of the stuff going on in our head has been there so long, we're not even aware that we're doing it. But I'm really big on affirmations or declarations, whatever word you want to use. And one of mine that has really assisted me and other women I've known is my past doesn't determine my future. And it doesn't matter what label was put on you or somebody put on you or you put on yourself. Your past does not have to determine what you are or what you do in the future unless you let it. So don't let it. And the other thing that I say to myself on a regular basis, and when I was doing this rough transition, when I started this journey, is get up every day and act as if success is inevitable. Just believe success is inevitable and do one little thing that day to move you forwards. And before you know it, you'll find yourself in a place you're like, how did I get here? It was a journey, one step at a time.
I love it. I love it. And what are your clients sharing with you after they either have gone through the program or in the midst of the program? Because we get insights, you never know when they're going to happen, but it's because all of a sudden this thing we've packed away for so long is now bubbling up to the surface, and we're learning to overcome those negative or limiting beliefs. But what are your clients sharing about the journey they've been going on with you?
Well, my clients have what I call ahas every single session. It's those moments of inspiration. One of my clients who had been in counseling for years and wasn't getting the results she was looking for took a chance and began to work with me. And so I asked her when she completed what she felt like she needed to do. I said, what was the difference? What was the difference between years of counseling and working with me? And she said, my counselors taught me how to cope with my problems. They taught me coping mechanisms. They talked to me about my past, but you talked to me about my future and helped me to not cope, but eliminate or obliterate my mountain, if you will. And so that I could actually move forward and be free. That's the main kind of story that I hear over and over and over again. I'm not going to teach you how to cope. We're going to teach you how to eliminate it so that you can actually be free.
Very good. And now that you have been in this helping profession, coaching, making a difference, and you've got a successful business and multifaceted, individual, group coaching, blogging, podcasting, are there some next steps, next destinations for you? Now that your baggage.
You don't think I'm doing enough?
Something I can only imagine. If something new were to come onto your plate, you'd have that thing spinning in no time. So,
well, in 2018, I had a women's conference, and it was very successful. And so I planned on doing them. Was it 18 or 19? No, it was 19, because I planned on doing one in 2020, and of course,
it didn't work out.
That didn't happen. So. Trying to figure out what that's going to look like in the future. Everybody's doing virtual conferences, but I like to hug people. I'm sorry, if they're agreeable to a hug, I like to hug people. So what that's going to look like, I don't know. I've thought about retreats where it's a little smaller venue, kind of a situation. So that idea is on the back burner until we figure out what this world is going to look like, on how to plan something like that. But it was basically having a Friday and all day Saturday speakers. And, so you're there into an intensive to be able to get some monumental change quickly.
Fantastic. Well, I know up in the Grand Rapids area, you are very close or in the midst of some very beautiful country. So I would imagine there's a lot of great places for retreats.
Yep. I could easily, I thought about renting a house in like an Airbnb for the weekend and doing a weekend retreat where a limited amount of people instead of doing the bigger venues. So because yes, we got water everywhere in Michigan. It's beautiful. Trying to figure out what that's going to look like. But that was a great question.
Very good. Every once in a while I ask one of those. So before we head out, I know you have.
Yeah, it's free to anybody who would like it. It's called An Umbrella on a Sunny Day. And the theme behind the title is I guess it's not necessarily exclusive to people who've had tragedy or some type of pain in their life. But when we have, it is often that even when the sun is shining, we're worried about the rain. Another way to say it is waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm preparing for bad when it's good, because I'm figuring it's going to get bad. It's been bad before. It'll be bad again. And so how we anticipate or can even prevent good from coming because we're focused on carrying that umbrella around when the sun is shining. So I tell my story, some pretty raw stories of really real events in my life, and then tools to be able to quit carrying my umbrella and to anticipate that it can be great. And then in the back part of the book, it has other women sharing their stories of what they have experienced and what you can experience too. So get your copy.
Fantastic. Well, we will definitely provide the backlinks to get the copy. And speaking of backlinks, and for our listeners, if they would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
My website is a really great place to start. And the website is ivibrantliving.com. The other place I'm on a lot is Facebook. And you'll see my name in the show notes. Just look, it's not a usual name, so it'll be easy to find. Just send me a message or a friend request.
Fantastic. Well, we will definitely provide backlinks to the website, iVibrant Living, as well as to your social sites, especially Facebook, and of course the link so that listeners can pick up a copy of your free ebook, An Umbrella on a Sunny Day. And Donna, thank you so much for making this a sunny day for me. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know more about you and your work. And again, it's always a pleasure to chat with a fellow coach, and having a virtual coffee on my end, tea on your end. What kind of tea do you like, by the way?
I like a lot of teas.
Yeah.
I like quite a few different kinds.
Okay. Well, so if anybody gives you a gift of teas, you're a happy camper.
Absolutely. I got one for Mother's Day and it was wonderful.
Fantastic. Well, Donna, once again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Donna Tashjian. She is a life mastery coach, a blogger, podcaster, and the founder of Vibrant Living International. And do check out Donna's work, and we invite you to go out to ivibrantliving.com. This is really the best place to go, because everything you need or want to know about Donna and her programs can be found there. Also, do pick up a copy of her free ebook, An Umbrella on a Sunny Day. And again, we'll provide backlinks to that as well as to her social sites. Folks, if you enjoyed this podcast, we want to hear from you. Let us know with a like, a comment. You can find us on successinsightpodcast.com. We have Success Insight Podcast pages on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And we are also on all of the major podcasting platforms: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, especially Spotify, because we have our Coaching and Consulting Insights playlist. So you can find this episode as well as all the episodes we have had with fellow coaches and consultants. Again, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, wear your mask if appropriate, practice social distancing if appropriate. But what we're learning from Donna today is you have to take care of yourself. And we hope to see you on another episode of the Coaching and Consulting Insight series on the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.